I'm dressed up for you, particularly.
I appreciate that. You look very handsome.
Thank you. No, we're trying very hard to give you a good Skype.
Well, listen, everyone, thank you for joining us here on Shaun Proulx Media. And I have to tell you, with all of the brouhaha that became after Madonna's Super Bowl performance when she dared to wave her pom-poms and have fun at the old age of 53, I was fascinated by the reaction to that, both positive and negative. And I thought, well, who better to bring on and discuss the issue of ageism today than author, playwright, and 82-year-old slut, David Leddick from Miami, Florida. How are you, David?
I'm extremely well. I'm very glad to be on your show and talk about aging. Aging's my big thing right now.
With someone like Madonna, 10 years older than me, I think she's setting like a new tone for what aging is, just by virtue of the fact of who she is.
Because to me, 53, she's a teenager, and you're a kid.
I'm a baby.
If you're a kid, I'm 82, and I'm still trucking.
You're still trucking.
There's nothing wrong with me. My doctor said I'm the only patient that doesn't take any medication. There's nothing wrong with me.
I loved your essay in the Huffington Post. You said we have to completely rethink what age and numbers stand for.
65, you may live 30 more years. That's a 30-year life. You got to really attack it in a new way. And it's interesting because I didn't really have male role models. My role models were women, really, like Coco Chanel and Elsie Mendel, the decorator who went to Hollywood when she was 90 and had a big success. And I just realized we have to rethink the last third of our lives completely, because the idea of what it was, it's very dated. We don't do that anymore. Our health isn't what people were 20, 30 years ago. Our looks aren't, our sex lives aren't. There's no reason to abandon your sex life.
My husband is 9 years younger than me, and he and I coming together as a couple really caused me to sort of feel older for the first time in any relationship. And your boyfriend is 30 years younger?
He's 27.
He's 27 years old, and you're 82.
Yeah, and he really is interested in me, and of course, I'm crazy about him. But I think what people have to understand, and really, 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 is that you shouldn't, we're talking about it today at lunch, you shouldn't ignore clues. I think a lot of younger people come on to older people and they don't register it because they think, how could anybody want to sleep with me? He's not interested in me. They are interested in you, and you're just missing out altogether. You don't register what it means, because people are very interested in who you are.
Yes.
And men particularly, men want to own you, and men don't want other people to have you. And if you're a woman or if you're another guy or whatever, whoever you are, if they really get onto you, they want to have you. They want to have you, and they want to have you physically.
I think you touched on something really important that's worth digging a bit deeper there in what you just said. It's the idea that people think that once they reach a certain age, they're not attractive anymore, or someone wouldn't be interested in them. The key words being people think. We really have to reprogram ourselves as to what aging is, and start embracing the idea that aging means you're more interesting to others. Whereas, especially in gay culture, I used to be the most evil queen when it came to older men, and by older men, I meant when I was in my 20s looking at someone who's my age now, and I think there's that whole kind of habit of thought that we have as a society.
Yeah. Shaun, can we use bad words?
We can use bad words.
Because I thought, the big thing is you have to remain fuckable.
Okay.
So that's something you have to put in your mind. I have to remain fuckable. And remaining fuckable means you have to diet, you have to go to the gym, you must not ignore plastic surgery. It can do you a world of good. Because I've been lifted 3 times.
Okay.
And the first time, I could tell, I went right back into circulation. I was out of circulation. At 65, I was out of circulation. And I had myself redone, and came back to Miami. I was back, and right away, immediately. And nobody says anything. They don't realize it. They think you just look rested. They never mention it. I never mention it. But if you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, you don't have to settle for that. It doesn't have to look that way, and you don't have to look like some, pulled up boiled egg. You can look very much like you used to look 10 years ago.
Well, and
that's one part.
I think what you're saying too is you have to feel fuckable. You have to feel fuckable, whatever fuckable means to you.
Yes.
And when you stop feeling fuckable and unattractive, you therefore become that.
Yes, exactly. And you have to take steps. And also, too, Shaun, you have to be capable of really getting interested in somebody else. Because, being very interested in somebody, I don't know. I don't know how much to tell you. But I got a Valentine's Day from my nephew, and it said, "Happy Valentine's Day to you. I'm sure you're getting a lot of cards from all those meaningful others in all the continents of the world." And I do try to keep my private life separated so people don't know what's going on, where they're, but you have to remember that you have to kind of really think about that other person. Because I have kind of a relationship with a guy in Berlin. And he said, nobody's ever paid as much attention to me as you have.
Mm.
I think that's very meaningful. I have a lot of friends in the early 50s who are, kind of feeling out of the loop. And I must say, they are much more interested in themselves than they are in anyone else. Well, and I think you have to be capable of really being interested in somebody else.
When I read your essay, and again, everyone reading this should check it out on the Huffington Post. I love what you said. I wrote it down. Life is so interesting. You just have to hurl yourself into it. And don't you think that's part of it, is always being engaged?
I really think it's really crucial, men and women. What haven't you done that you'd really like to do after 65? Because you're in good form. Why not go do it? If you're worried about what the neighbors think, the neighbors are not thinking about you.
They're not thinking about you. And that's something that we all walk around worrying about what other people are thinking, but they're too busy worrying about what other people are thinking to be thinking about us. I feel like this is something that we've got so in common with women. Gay men are body fascists. We do worry about our weight, many of us. And certainly with this topic we're discussing today, aging, who gets hit by the sort of stigma of aging more than gay men and women. And I think you're right. I think that gay men do lead the way. And so if women are watching this, and they are, what do you want to say to them about aging that perhaps as a gay man you figured out?
I think it's really crucial to understand somebody, and probably a lot younger than you are, can be interested in you. They can be physically interested in you, emotionally interested in you, find you fascinating. Because you know what I think? I don't think we're getting older. I think we're getting more sophisticated. I think if you think in your head, I'm just getting more sophisticated. I know more. I've been around. I've traveled. I know more. I can accept more. I understand what people are sexually. I'm not going to live my life pretending to be somebody I am not. And I think women pick up right away, like they want to live. Women are much more aware of the necessity of, you've got a lot of emotions, use them, feel them, because you want to, when you get done with this, I really did it. I did it. There's nothing more left. I've experienced what I wanted to experience. I've done it. I think that's, all of us have to do that, because we're going to live to be 95, 100, 110. You want to think, my gosh, I didn't sit around on my dead butt the last 30 years of my life. I actually lived, and I lived even more fully than I had lived before.
I've been looking forward to this conversation all week, David. I want to say thanks for your time today. And the book is, plug it one more time.
My new book that's out right now is How to Be Gay in the 21st Century, but I have a brand new one coming, which is How to Hit 70 Doing 100. And it's going to be teamed up with another book called Sexercise at 70. So I've got 2 new books coming up. Lots of pictures of me in it, of course. So you have to brace yourself, all right? Thank you, Shaun. It was really good. I loved it.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Bye now.
Cheers. That was great.